Tim, you have a signature shoe coming out called the Stealth. Growing up, I'm sure you looked at, hey, guys getting signature shoes. What's it like to be one of those guys now?
It's awesome. It's awesome. I can remember back in the day when David Robinson, who just coincidentally enough I got to play with, but he had a shoe come out, and that was the kind of the guy I looked up to when I saw, hey, one day I'd love to do that. And I never expected to be able to do that, but that's something that it's a dream of every kid growing up.
What's your favorite feature of the new Stealth?
I like the Velcro across the top. It's something functional and it looks good. I always like to have somewhere to tuck my laces once I tie them, and that's something I kind of asked for, and they put it on there, and I think it looks really good.
During the process of designing the shoe, did you have a lot of input? If you did, what?
Well, we had a sit down. We had an interview here. Well, not an interview, a sit down session where we kind of went through some of the things I like in my shoe, some of the things that the way I like the shoe to feel, how heavy I want it. So I had some input in put it together, and just more of the functional part. I said with the strap across the top, things like that. Just little things that I wanted to make sure I had on it.
Most people who don't know you, don't know that you're into technology. You're a guy who has all the latest things. They would see your game and go, okay, he's more old school type of guy. He uses the glass. He does the fundamental things. But your footwear is not a representation of that. When you look at your footwear, are you looking for something that's more new school than old school?
I like to have a bit of an old school look, a simple look, a pretty basic look, but technology wise, I love to have things in there, the sole, the climate cool, just all the little things that makes the shoe that much more comfortable, but not to the point where it's a feature on the shoe where you see it like, oh, that takes up part of the shoe that you can really concentrate on that, but it's there. It's always in the shoe.
Can you talk about a little about your foundation and what you do?
Tim Duncan Foundation was created, I'm going to get this wrong, I think it was 8 years ago, um, with my wife and myself, and we just want to give back to the community. We got into a situation with the Spurs where we had a lot of great examples, the guys around us giving back and giving their time and efforts to the community, and we just wanted to be a part of that. We wanted to make sure that we took our time and in our position made sure we gave something back. So we established a foundation and focused it mostly on cancer research and therapy, and also giving back to the kids of the community, whether that be in the recreation sense or educational sense, just making sure we stay involved with the community.
Is there one story maybe that just stands out that you kind of looked at going, I never thought I would impact somebody like that?
Uh, Actually, I probably have the perfect story for it. Just this summer, got a letter from a lady. We put together a program, a cancer early detection cancer program where ladies can go in that are not insured to the right level and be able to get the mammograms and for early detection. And we got a letter from a lady saying that she went and she was part of the program, and they found something and they were able to treat it, and before it got to its later stages. So those were exactly what we wanted to do, and that's exactly what we created the program for. And just to get a letter like that and to see that actually, even if it was just her and it's nobody else, it was worth it. That's fun.
What's kind of your goal for yourself? You set personal goals. If,
I don't usually set personal goals. I didn't have my greatest year this past year, and I want to improve on that. I want to have a better year this year. But honestly, our team did so well. I'm gonna try to fit in where I can and play the way I can, whatever those numbers reflect or whatever I put on the board reflects. As long as we're winning the way we won in these past years, I'll be just fine with this situation.
you've won MVPs, you've won championships. What's in your eyes? What has been the greatest achievement you've had playing basketball?
I think it's got to be winning championships. It's got to be sitting there, knowing it's the end of the year, knowing there's no more games left, and knowing that you're still standing on that court and holding up that trophy. That's got to be the greatest time. And people even say, "Well, why do you? What's your motivation? Why do you want to? What do you have left to do?" It's like you want to do it again and again. That it's so much there. It's so great that you want to just keep on doing it over and over again as much as you can.
if you were to tell us some stuff about yourself that maybe people don't know or don't get a real feel for, is there something that like who is Tim Duncan behind the scenes, so to speak?
Um,
Same guy.
I'm pretty much the same guy. I'm as laid back as I can be. Uh, I stay out of the lights. I try to enjoy myself and just when the season's not going on, I'm not in front of the camera or on a court. I'm I'm either at the gym working on my game or uh, somewhere in the water or at home hanging out. It's just it's pretty simple.
There's been many different eras of players and styles of play. If you were to go back and play in a different era, what era would you think you'd play in?
I don't know what era. I think we have it's such an evolution of basketball. You can see it from looking at the film, looking at the tapes, looking at the players, and I wouldn't trade playing in another era for now. I think we've got some of the most incredible athletes in the world, some of the best competition ever in the NBA. I think this is a great time for the NBA. If there was a time or a team or a person, I'd love to see what one of our best teams would stack up against some of the best teams around. If there was to put a series together where we could play the Bulls and our best team, whether it be '99 or '03 or wherever it was, if our team could play the Bulls or could play the Celtics or could play the Lakers or something like that, and I think that would be a great thing.
Is there one guy you kind of look at going, you know what, I'd love to have played him in his prime?
It's an easy question. Bill Russell. I would love to play against him. He was such a force, and I would just have loved to see. And he's so smart. If you watch him play or you watch some of the older interviews or older tapes on him, you can tell he's just an intelligent basketball player. And I'd have just loved to see what I would be able to do against him.
Well, we were with Kevin last week in Asia, and he said you're by far the toughest guy he has to guard because of all the skills you bring to the table. When you look at who you have to go up against on a night-to-night basis, who's the toughest guy in the league for you to kind of deal with?
I'd probably throw it right back at Kevin. I really would. An incredible talent, brings that energy every night, and just a great skill set. He can do a little bit of everything. He'll shoot it, he'll drive it, and he knows how he's an intelligent basketball player. So I'd probably give it to Kevin, although you can look around the league and see some of these young guys that are coming up that are going to be monsters going through, be at the 4 and 5 position. Dwight Howard and Amari and Chris Bosh, and those guys are going to be the guys that I'll probably say in the next 2 and 3 years. They're going to be incredible. But as of right now, I think Kevin's going to. I have to say Kevin on that.
Kids look up to you, and they may want to know about two kinds of things you have to handle. One is tough times and pain and losing and disappointments. How do you deal with that? And then the flip side is, how do you deal with great success, celebrity you may not want or seek, and glory? So how do you deal with pain? How do you deal with glory?
I think I'd answer the both sides of it the same way. You handle pain and glory in the same way. You try not to get too high or too low, knowing that your life is about ups and downs. It's about ebbs and flows. It's about getting to a peak and then the next year or the next minute being in a valley. And basketball is so much like life. If something's going great, you wait a minute, it'll change. If something's going bad, you wait a minute, it'll change. So I try to play things on such an even keel, knowing that things are going to change. You take the good with the bad. You don't get too excited. You don't get too down. And sometimes that's the hardest thing in the world to do when you're in the midst of it. But that's the best way to handle it for me.
20 years from now, what do you think you'll be doing? What's life after basketball?
20 years from now, what will I be doing? I'll, wow. hopefully watching my daughter go to college. Uh, um, I don't know. Trying to stay busy doing something. I have no idea. That's a great question.